I'm in charge of the group, and I would like to introduce and give the floor to our new colleague, Angelika Annus, leading the investor relations. And please, Angelika.
Good morning, dear investors, listeners. I'm very glad to be part of Tallinna Sadam team. I have been working here for 2 months, and I'm really looking forward and encourage you to contact me for any questions, any matters. You can write to me either investor@ts.ee or contact me directly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angelika, and welcome again. And then we will continue with Andrus, our CFO, and then let's first cover the results and main events from Q2, and then of course 6-month results. We have had quite active Q2, but the most important is that our cargo volume stabilized, and now the biggest group is Ro-Ro, what is slightly increasing. Also containers shows the growth. Therefore, we strongly believe that we have the stable cargo now, and step by step we managing to grow that. Also important event we had in Q2, we signed a contract and with new shipping line Express Feeder in Muuga, and they started. Remarkable is that their new ship is running on methanol. It's quite a big container ship, and it now goes regularly to Muuga. Also in Q2 we win the tender in ferry business for the next period. Of course, it doesn't give the effect just now, but it's very important for the future of our company, for the group. This period ends in autumn 26, but now we win the next period. Also, we managed to sign the longer term contract for 5 years with Baffinland, and that's also positive that they trust us, and we're preparing for the new job. Also, we signed another contract for, let's call it summer work with BP. The period started earlier, but it was shorter due to the technical problems. But we really working on that, and we're preparing now for the Baffinland work starting from September. And then we signed also additional agreement with state for ferry regular in summer period, and we're working with cost. We have another cost saving program. We described our main processes already last year, and this year we're now getting the effects, and the number of employees decreased by 6%. We had ordinary AGM. We paid out our promised dividends. Then we signed the loan agreement with Swedbank just for financing our big investment in Paldiski. We decided to prolong contracts with 2 members in TS Shipping and TS Laevad. Then there are 2 court cases, and we have had dispute with SLK and Väinamere Liinid. Now we got the positive, let's call it final decision. But there is ongoing court case with members, old members or former members from our company. Trends in business segments. In passenger, we see continuous growth, but it's very important, driven mainly by Helsinki line. Also have seen good numbers in cruise business. I mean the passenger numbers, and important is that we have increase in passenger vessel calls also. In cargo trend, as we mentioned, we have had stable or stabilization period due to the decrease in vessel calls. There is slight decline in revenues, but again, important the growth in ro-ro and containers. Ferry business is very stable, and Botnica or other segment shows increase in Q2 because we started the contract or chartering with PP earlier. Here are the numbers from Q2. As I mentioned, the growth is there. In cargo, still liquid bulk decreases, and ro-ro and containers are on a growth phase. Shipping volumes on very side, very stable in 6 months, with also small increase in numbers of passengers and also in vehicles. And in Botnica or on the other segment, we started the summer season earlier than last year. Therefore, we see quite a big increase in charter days and in volume. Future. We believe that passenger business will recover, and in shorter period, I mean this year, we believe in slight growth still. On ro-ro and container lines, we believe also that there is interest to serve better Scandinavia import-export. Therefore, we continue discussions and negotiations with some new lines. And there is interest in offshore wind farms. Base Harbour, we made the offers to 3 tenders outside of Estonia. Therefore, we believe there is interest, and what is important that also the development goes well, and hopefully the new harbour or new quay will be ready by the end of next year. There are preparation for real estate development, and even this autumn and end of the year shows some news on that, and hopefully we will start then next year with the tenders for developers, for the investors. And we're preparing for reducing the state shareholding. There are no big news. There is just now, we continue with negotiation with the state, but of course our attitude is very positive to that, to have more interests towards institutional investors with SPO or whatever model there will be. And we continue with efficiency. Yeah, please, Margus. Sorry, Andrus.
Thank you, Valdo. So these are the financial results for the second quarter and 6-month period. The results were strongly impacted by the good results from our icebreaker Botnica. Botnica was chartered out for extra 25 days in the second quarter this year. The summer charter with PP started already in the middle of May, and this also contributed to the growth of revenue. So the revenue increase was 10%, and the revenue was 31.6 million euros. And the growth was almost 3 million euros. Also, ferry segment supported the growth here as we made more trips, and also we had positive impact from indexation. There was a slight negative impact from cargo ship calls. We had fewer calls, therefore we had less vessel charges from cargo harbors, and also we had less cruise ship calls, but it was in some extent balanced by the higher number of RoPax ship calls. And all the other revenue streams, except the cargo charges, increased. Good results were from the sale of electricity. Also, rental revenues were quite high. So all the other revenue streams supported the growth here in the second quarter. Adjusted EBITDA increased by 27% and amounted to 14.9 million euros. Here the growth in euros is even higher than on revenue level. The growth was 3.2 million euros. To explain that, the efficiency measures has already given the results, and we had lower repair cost of non-current assets, especially for the icebreaker Botnica. Last year we had docking works, and in connection with that we made also regular repair works, and also the cargo segment, cargo harbor segment and ferry segment, there we had also lower repairment costs. Also the tax expenditures were lower because of the tax rate were lowered since the beginning of 2024. And personnel expenditures increased by 1%, but this is mainly in connection with the earlier start of summer charter of Botnica, and this goes only to shipping segments. All other segments reported a decline in terms of personnel expenses. Adjusted EBIT margin increased by 6.3 percentage points and amounted to 47%. Operating profit was almost 9 million euros, and the growth there was 55%. Income tax was minus 3.1 million euros, despite we paid out the same amount dividends as last year in the second quarter, like we regularly do in the second quarter. The income tax increased. This year we had reduced the income tax. Last year the income tax was reduced by reversal of deferred income tax. Last year we received dividends from joint venture company Green Marine, and this impacted the income tax as well. Profit for the period was 4.1 million euros. Growth here was 200%. And we invested in the first quarter 7.1 million euros. The main investment project is still the key construction in the Paldiski South Harbour to serve in the future offshore wind farms. This project is going by the plans. And in the second quarter we also reconstructed the ramp in Old City Harbour to serve the Ro-Ro traffic, and also made some investment to electricity equipment and electricity supply, and also IT investments. On 6-month level, the growth ratios were a bit lower than in the second quarter. Just to remind, in the first quarter the revenue was impacted by planned docking works of Eckerline ship Finlandia, which impacted negatively the revenue. And in the ferry segment, there were higher fuel costs because we had severe ice conditions in the first quarter, and this impacted the fuel consumption and fuel costs. And profit for the period for 6 months were 9.3 million euros, and the growth was there 31.5%. We invested during the first half of the year 25 million euros. Like in second quarter, the main project, the quay construction in Paldiski South Harbour, and in the first quarter we had already also the docking works for our ferry Tallinn. These were planned docking works and nothing extraordinary there. So these are the results in segment terms. In the second quarter, revenue increased in the segment other and in the ferry segment, and there was a decline in the cargo harbors in terms of revenue, and in passenger harbors the revenue was flat year-on-year basis. In the segment other, the good results from Botnica activities and operations increased the revenue. Also, we had less repair costs, and therefore the segment other reported very good results. In the ferry segment, revenue increased due to the indexation, and in the second quarter, the EBIT also increased, and this reflects the growth on revenue level. In cargo harbors, revenue decreased because of fewer vessel calls, and also cargo charges decreased mainly because of the liquid bulk. But despite of that, we managed to increase the EBITDA, and here we can bring out that our efficiency measures have given us effect, and this was very positive. And in passenger harbors, like already explained, we had fewer cruise ship calls, but at the same time more RoPax vessel calls. And on EBITDA level, there was a decrease because of higher repair costs of non-current assets. We made some reconstructions for the cruise quays which serve the cruise ships. So in the long run, we see that this is very necessary to keep the quays in good condition to serve the cruise ships, because this is very lucrative and profitable business for us. On 6-month period, the trends or the figures is quite similar. Growth on revenue level in ferry segment and in the segment other, and decline in cargo segment and passenger harbors. In the segment other, the first quarter was similar as year before, so the growth is attributable to the second quarter. In the ferry segment, revenue increased on 6-month period, but EBITDA decreased because of the higher fuel costs. In cargo harbors, here is the numbers similar as in the second quarter, and the explanations is also similar. Fewer vessel calls and less cargo, but we managed to keep costs under control, and therefore the EBITDA increased. And in the segment in passenger harbors, revenue decreased because of the Finlandia, mainly, where the ship made less calls in the first quarter, and in the second quarter we had more repair costs. On cash flow side, we see that cash from operating activities increased by 2.7 million euros and amounted to 25 million euros. So receipts from the sale of food and assets has increased. Cash used in investing activities reflects the high investment level and was minus 22 million euros. Free cash flow 2.7 million euros, and the decrease was minus 15.6 million euros, which is attributable to higher investments. And cash used in financing activities was minus 6.6 million euros, which is more positive than last year. Here we can see the impact from the loan which we signed, loan agreement which we signed and draw already in May in amount of 20 million euros. This is unsecured loan with a term of 3 years and mainly taken to finance our investment this year. And net cash flow was minus 3.8 million euros. And net debt at the end of period increased by almost 18 million euros because of the new loan agreement. And on financial position, we see that cash and bank accounts reflects the cash flow. Non-current assets has increased because of the investments and lowering effect from depreciation. Gross debt has increased because of the new loan agreement. At the same time, we have made some loan repayments for the loans which we have taken earlier. And equity was impacted by the dividend payout and profit for the period. But with that, we will conclude the presentation. Here are some extra slides, like always, about revenue generation and EBITDA generation. The presentation is uploaded, and if you have any deeper interest, you can browse them these slides later. And now we will make a short break. You can submit questions, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Lähme siis pildiga, eks ole, Mihkel? Ma ei ole vajutanud.
Welcome back. And we have 2 questions sent up front. So these questions I will answer at first. The first question is about the article which was published last week, and it was about the departure of large institutional investors from Tallinn Stock Exchange. In this context, as Tallinna Sadam noticed, any interest or intention from large institutional investors to sell their shares. We haven't seen any interest from institutional investors that they would exit from Port of Tallinn or from Tallinn Stock Exchange. So, in connection with our company, so no further comment on that. Also, the turnover on the stock exchange with the stock of with the shares of Port of Tallinn didn't show that there was some panic or some interest to sell. So we don't have any information or haven't heard anything that some institutional investors would like to exit. And the second question's what stage is the climate ministry's plan to reduce its stake in the company? Like already explained during the slides, this process is under preparations. The Minister of Finance and Minister of Climate are making the preparations, and like commented already in May, most probably at the earliest, the reduction of the state shares will take place in the second half of 2025 or 2026. But of course, we have to follow the market sentiment and developments on the stock exchange. But currently, we don't have any additional information regarding this. Yes, so it seems that we don't have any additional questions. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.